Good afternoon. We're very sorry for some technical glitches which generally happens with man and machine. The year was 1665, and in England there was a huge break of plague. It was a pandemic during that time. Especially during that time, he was not known to be Sir, but Isaac Newton came up with the foremost theories of physics in terms of gravitational energy, momentum, and what we call Newtonian mechanics. In the same time, during when the pandemic was going on in England, Shakespeare came up with great novels, especially King Lear, Macbeth, and Antony and Cleopatra, which became the epitome of literature in the world history. Considering those two facts, we find out evidence from history that pandemic has never stopped in terms of intellectual, cognitive, and scientific thinking. Taking a note on that, we have with us somebody whose grit and determination has helped to reconstruct many young lives, whose collaborative and systematic effort has also helped to integrate e-learning process. Somebody who joined Usha Martin in the year 2010, moved to Bangalore in 2012, and now she is the principal of one of the foremost international schools in Calcutta. We have with us the principal of James Academia International, Ms Aditi Mukherjee. Ms Aditi, a very warm welcome from Asian College of Teachers, and we welcome you to this show arranged by Asian College. So as we were talking a little bit, a glance about the history, that pandemic has never stopped in terms of cognitive and scientific thinking. Your thoughts, please.
Yes, Shaunak. Good afternoon and welcome back. It was a tough time. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Shaunak?
Yes.
Yes. So, yes, as you said, that pandemic or anything cannot stop the human brains from working, because thankfully there is no pandemic in the brain. And but to think that a pandemic has caused the some people to write great drama and Newton to have discovered something is an understatement. However, we would, yes, definitely agree with you that not only a pandemic, but nothing can stop learning from happening. Nothing can stop the human brains from working. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So the entire pandemic which has broke out, we were never prepared, and this is possibly we are witnessing a history. So what do you think that this change in terms of the mental shift which education and everything, business, finance, education, logistics, every one of us has suffered. What do you think that how education is reshaping up with this COVID, which is still ongoing in all over the world? What do you think would be the shift in terms of education? Your views, please.
Shaunak, first and foremost, let me tell you that the shift was because of the pandemic, fine. But these things that we are shifting with, the tools that we are using to shift, existed. It is only that we did not know that they are there. True. It is only after the pandemic that we came to know of something so important like a Zoom meet, for instance. But did Zoom, was it discovered on the day the pandemic was declared? No. We had these things. We only woke up and we realized that these things can be used for something so traditional and something so unique and something so should I say it cannot stop. And therefore we tried to understand what are the tools and what are the means and what are the methodologies that we will pick up to continue education. Education right. Definitely cannot stop. We cannot stop food. We cannot stop shelter. We cannot stop breathing. And so cannot we stop education. The shift happened in the methodology. It did not happen in the fact that these things were, it got discovered or invented. Therefore, the offline task, which was a majority of the people followed the offline task or, the non-virtual mode, it was teaching and learning, which was physical presence. And now this has shifted to more of a virtual mode where we are more into the online mode. However, technology existed. And schools like ours, we always use technology as a very, very powerful tool to drive home points to our children.
Right. So what I think you are telling, that what we generally know, that necessity is the mother of invention. So it was already there, and this pandemic created an atmosphere where these things came right in the forefront. So taking a note on that, I would like to ask you that, as you said, that this already existed and the situation demanded that. So how do you think, like as far as Jim's Academia is concerned, the assessment in terms of the knowledge of the students, like we generally, when we go out into the classroom and check the assessments, it is in a different mode. We know the body language, we can see different things where the the students are doing. So how do you find that the challenge, or I would say overcoming the challenge in terms of online technology, checking on the methods, the ways students now come to you and they behave? So how do you think it is helping, or how do you think it is creating a new way of innovation?
See, there was the disruption zone first, right? We were confused as to what shall we do. We knew that as teachers, we cannot stop our children from learning. We cannot stop classes. We cannot stop education. What will the child do if he is not taught at home? It will become, a parallel pandemic if children are not educated. So that
True.
disruption zone was created, and we all put our minds together and we realized that there has to be a growth zone. We have to take up certain things and we have to continue doing what we are doing. So if children cannot come to school, the very obvious thing is that the school goes to children, and therefore these online modes were created. And a wonderful thing in the growth zone happened is that everybody got together. For instance, my IT team, my administration team, my teachers, we leaders, everybody got together to find out a structured way of presenting to our children that, look, we are there. Look, you're not alone. You may be at home, but classes do happen. And Shauna, this was a very critical time. It was on the 16th of March that we had to call off examinations and ask children to go home. We are a
Right.
boarding school. We had to almost pack them up and send them to different parts of the country and to the different parts of the even of the world. We have children from Bangladesh. We have children from other parts of the world. So that was not from that time onwards till today, which is half June is over. We are in a very, very structured mode, continuing classes. Yes, and I'm proud to say that all the teachers, when it was time for them to have the session break, just relax that, oh, 1 year is over and now 5 days of rest, is the time when they started working 24/7. Because the
True.
modules were different, the methodology was different, the resources were different. So, and the only drive that we as teachers had is that a child should not think, oh, my teacher doesn't know, and therefore she's not being able to reach me. We are telling children that you are furthering the universe to a better place. How can we not hold their hands? How can we not give them what we need to give them? And therefore this online teaching was happening. But as you said, assessments, yes, of course, we cannot live without assessments. Assessments can happen in any which way. So now it is we are very happy to tell you that more than testing, it's collaborating, it's creating. So what are we doing when we are in an online class? We are trying to restructure this entire system, that there is a monologue where the teacher will speak, there's another monologue that the child will answer, and there's another counter monologue or a feedback monologue that the teacher will give. We have to break that, and we have broken that. So it is more of, as we say that when I am you are taking the help of your IT when you are seeing that the sound system is not working. So every child has a particular capacity. So when everybody is on the same page, including the teacher, imagine what kind of creative genius is being created in that particular frame. Where the teacher is failing, the child is saying, where I am entering a class and I'm, ma'am, your voice is breaking, do this, do that. And therefore we are all learning simultaneously. So assessments, yes, they will happen, but they can still wait.
So, in one way, what you are telling is that technological innovation, advancement in terms of module making, etc., are being done. Do you think that we are really losing the human touch which was there in the classroom?
What more than the human touch when I am telling a child in a sociology class, countered by a geography class, countered by a science class, to talk of the migrant laborers' problems? What more human touch when I'm telling a child that, child, you are not coming to school, but you're sitting in your AC room and you're doing a class, whereas there are thousands and thousands of people in the rural villages who, in spite of their intentions, are not being able to, afford this. Human touch is not only physical presence, Shaunak. Human touch is here. It's here. So what we try to do in our classes is we we sensitize children to understand how important human touch is. See, I will give you a very small example and you will understand. One day I was doing my class in my school. Okay. So immediately when children saw me, they're saying, ma'am, are you in school? Are you in your office? I said, yes, child, I'm in my office. Ma'am, show us our ground, show us our classroom. You know, that
They're
this can
they're,
also go away from them has made them realize how important it is for them. So unless you understand, you won't understand the value of water unless the well is dry. So maybe we are all understanding what a comfortable life we were all leading.
Yeah, without the darkness, the light won't shine. You won't understand the importance of light.
Absolutely.
Asian College of Teachers, for about a decade, we are into online education. We are developing new modules even after this pandemic. As you know, that you came to our campus, and you recruited few of our candidates. So we always try to bring that kind of a campus connect, which we are doing right now. So we are developing this type of modules which will reach out in this difficult times to people. So with that, like we have launched MCE and other courses, which is reaching out to people, purely online courses. Along with that, what you told, the human touch, where there are counseling, people are reaching out, correcting their problems. So what do you think that this online education is lacking as far as India is concerned, and what are the measures that we need to take?
See, the bandwidth is a real problem. I shiver to think what happens to children in the remote villages, Shaunak. See, we have a scholarship scheme where we have children from the remote parts of Jharkhand, Bihar, and uh, if you see their interests in joining the classes, you will be so happy. But I would like to feel that, that not all children are as lucky. They do not get the scholarships, they do not have access to online classes, whereas they would be maybe if they would have got, they would have arranged. So that is one big problem, where as teachers we do not feel this as a right thing. However, the second thing as a teacher we feel is, yes, of course, the emotional connect or the physical connect. I still feel that my teachers say, ma'am, when a child is upset, generally we go in front of the child and we see that he's not eating food, and we say, oh, come, I will have food with you. Come to the canteen. Let me see what you have got. So, that physical connect. And we cannot ignore, or we cannot deny the fact that all families are not perfect families. We understand that there are a lot of problems which children are facing because they are at home. And yes, so the list is huge, but whatever we can and we must.
So this actually brings us to a common question, which I think, like, as far as the online teaching is concerned, now that we are preferring different kind of modules, we are trying to kind of get a kind of a human and online touch with those people, with the students. So the assessments are also changing, because we might find that they are more objective driven rather than subjective and elaborative answers, which automatically comes in terms of online test. Do you think that a child or a student's knowledge in terms of objective teaching is going to suffer if we continue with this online teaching for about 4 or 5 years? Because they won't be learning, they might be learning, but their answering more will be more of very precise. So the span of the knowledge, do you think that it is going to suffer, or is it going to be the same?
See, when you are saying that we are not being able to do subjective assessment, you are considering three facts. You are considering that the child is dishonest and will cheat. You are considering that the child will have different technology in front of him, and he will counter effort, or a child will have a discussion mode. Now, here is where we have to break the norm. What is an assessment? An assessment is what you know, what we have discussed, what we have collaborated, what we have created. It is gone are the days when you say the, which year did, Albert Einstein discover MCQ or whatever he did. E is equal to MC square. I should not make a mistake. I'm a teacher. So here is where we need to rethink on the system of assessment. I will give you a small example. Again, back to maybe, okay, the very fact that biology, this is a pandemic that no one has a hands on. Let us believe that no one has a hands on this. It is natural and it is biological, all right? How many things can you cover out of this? You can ask children about how this pandemic occurred. You can ask children about how it can be combated. You can ask, this is science. What about history? You can ask children, like you introduced, what was it that the last pandemic created? How good was it? How bad was it? How did people bounce back? Dance, you can tell children, okay, you are frustrated at home, you are at home, you are following the physical distance policy and so on and so forth, so create something so that you can come up with your you can vent out your frustration, or you can vent out to the fact that you are at home. Sociology, geography, everything can be assessed now that there are so many things happening around us. So there is no dearth of assessment. It does not have to be an MCQ. It does not have to be, can, and what is that? It is interpretation, it is creation, it is validation, it is, analysis. It does not have to be what you have learned. It can also be, it should also be what you have understood, what you have interpreted. So that is what, and this is a high time that we realize as teachers that no longer can we have questions on what happened and who did and how did it happen and when did it happen. We have to go beyond this.
So what you are telling, that considering the current situation that we are all undergoing, assessment based on the current situation is much more valid, is much more apt if we take those things into account. So
and there is no correct answer if you are taking it from today. There is no correct answer. You can say that, ma'am, there is a country that has caused the pandemic. I can say that it was nature. Somebody else can say, no, it was something else. Okay. So
true.
There is no correct answer. So we are in such a beautiful, volatile space that everything that we say is right.
Absolutely.
There is no wrong answer.
Absolutely. So if we take on that, but we do have a point coming up considering the new methods that we are designing, given lesson plans, etc. How can we reach out to the practical training part? Like those things, because you are into this field, like when people really make things in their hand and show it. So do you have a solution on that?
Of course there is a solution. Shaunak, there are simulations, there are virtual labs where the planning, the execution, the only thing that you cannot do in a simulation is you cannot touch, or maybe you cannot smell. So that is a technician's part. That can happen anytime later. But the entire fact of a virtual lab simulation is very much possible online. And there are hundreds and hundreds of mail that principal is probably getting to, for us to take up and just move forward.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that is. Thank you for like enlightening us. That's a wonderful way. But do you think that students, like we know, like who are cognitive and non-cognitive students, if we consider that even 10% of the total students that we are catering to are non-cognitive, so in case that they are not learning in the usual way that we do, so in that case, what is the way? Like, how do you suggest to us or those our
you
viewers?
Are saying cognitive as in people who are scientists or who are thinking from the brains?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Those who are not thinking. Yeah.
So would you say that a dancer is a non-cognitive person? Or a singer is a non-cognitive person?
Not in that way, but
yes. So here again, the concept, the idea that that academics is cognitive and non-cognitive, that there is an extracurricular, a co-curricular, and a classroom should break, and it is breaking. Again, I repeat, the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary aspects or facets of education is so important now. So will you tell me, ma'am, you asked me about cognitive. Did you ask me, ma'am, is biology still relevant in today's world? Is English still relevant? Because maybe tomorrow my child will be in China and he should learn Chinese more than he should learn English. But we
English.
are okay with the subjects that we are teaching. But we think that those who play, those who sing, those who dance are non-brainers. They're not. So when I am talking of a topic in a geography class, in a sociology class, suppose I'm talking of migrant laborers and their problems, right? A
Sure.
good writer, a good person who writes an English child or a Hindi child or a Bengali child will write a letter to the prime minister of the country explaining how this is a problem. Yes.
Yes.
A science child will realize what is the body fatigue that a person walking thousands of miles will face. A dancer will say and will create something on the migrant laborers problem, and a singer will create a song. So the
Sure.
topic remains, but the ways that a teacher is teaching is again interdisciplinary and collaborative learning. That is what we are trying to understand now at this point of time, that please do not compartmentalize. Human beings cannot compartmentalize their brains in a way
True.
that we think that they can.
True. We have got an interesting question which is coming up from Trisha Mitra. If you please, should we compare and differentiate online or virtual learning from a physical classroom training? If yes, then what should be the lines of demarcation? Your views, madam.
Should we compare and differentiate? Compare, I don't know what you mean by a compare and a differentiation. Yes, there is a difference. Definitely, there is a difference where uh, a teacher is not being able to reach out to a person more so. I'm sorry, when a person is not at his best emotionally, socially, or mentally. Yes, on an on screen, you can give me a facade. You can give me a smile, and at the back, you are definitely, you are suffering. But as a teacher, in the 15 years of experience or 20 years of experience that I have, I can look into the face of a child in a classroom and understand that, this child has not eaten in the morning. However, I may not be able to do that in a half an hour of class that I am allotted. Why is that? Because in other classes, say a teacher is a teacher in the whole period of a schooling time, right? From 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock, I am seeing my child at different phases. So I tell you, Shaunak, I saw Anirban today. He is so fond of football. He did not go to play football. Okay, you tell me, ma'am, I saw this. I did not see him during lunchtime. And we all get together and find out, Anirban, what happened to you? Come here, child. Are you sick? This cannot happen in an online class.
True.
Yes,
Very true.
that is the human touch that is only missing in an online class. Many other things can be done.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your explanation. I would like to, I think that we have got another question. If you can quickly take it. Somebody called Sukanya Mukherjee. I think she has got a question. How are the children coping up? Are they missing the school ambience and the practical lessons? So how it is, ma'am, you're trying to keep it up? I think you already answered. You can
Oh
just add.
yes, they are missing. They are missing us, and please, we are missing them. We are missing them too. We want to see them. We want to, we want to see them right in front of us.
Thank you for answering. There is another question which has come up. Neha Somani, Shivanjan, we'll take quickly this question. Shivanjan, I think he's a part, so he's
Yes,
telling I'm
he's
a
our
part.
child. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see how the school is tackling the situation in the COVID-19. My question is, online education helps to reach out to the students with the modules of leader, but education also includes equipping the students with soft skills such as leadership, coordination, resilience. True, that's true. In fact, those skills are
Wonderful
more important.
question.
Yeah. So your views,
Wonderful
please.
question, Shivanjan. You have really grown up to be a smart boy. Yes. So, Shaunak, I would just like to take a small example of Shivanjan's question and tell you.
Sure.
We have investiture, all right? We select our captains, house captains, games captains, discipline heads, etc. on sometimes in the month of June, sometimes in the month of May. Yes. Now, what we could not have and it is such a beautiful experience. So we could not have these interviews that we have. We could not have the voting. We could not have these things. So what did we do? We had 3 layers of interviews. So we selected a few children and we told them, give us a 2-minute video on why you think you should be selected or as the leader of a school that is not running as it was running for the last 10 years. Yes. So the responsibility of that particular leader, because he will not be
পুরো চৌপাট হয়ে গেল আজকে, নেটের গন্ডগোল হলো, প্রথম ওই গন্ডগোলটা হলো, সেকেন্ড নেটের গন্ডগোলটা হলো, বেরিয়ে গেছে, ফোন কর বেরিয়ে গেছে। লাইভ ব্রডকাস্টটা তো অন করে শোনা যাবে, একটু ওয়েট করো। ফোন করে করবো, আমি তো লাইভ আছি, সামনে থেকে সরে যাবো। না দাঁড়া, না শোনা যাচ্ছে। টপ করে দিয়েছিল, মিউট করা, তাহলে শোনা যাচ্ছে, এটাতেই শুনছিল। ওনার নেট চলে গেছে ওখানে। ওকে ফাইন, ইয়া ওনার নেট চলে গেছে, ওর নেট চলে গেছে। হ্যাঁ, এই সাউন্ডটা অন করুন, কিন্তু ভিডিওটা তো অন আছে। ভিডিওটা কি কথা বলছেন?
Some technical glitches, so we will be coming back in a few minutes. I think this is a wonderful learning which is going on, and I would like to highlight on few points what Madam actually told, that this is right now, it is a great situation that we need to learn, and we are really coming up with new things. So sociology, geography, mathematics, on whatever we are taking, it is a time when we can use the current situation and we can overcome whatever is being taught. So more of practical application taking part into the current pandemic situation. As Madam has been rightly pointed out, that pandemic or any kind of a natural catastrophe actually leads us to more learning. So as she has told, that Zoom or Skype, it was not that it was not there, it was there, but we are making it more applicable. And this application comes with the mother of necessity, that is the mother of invention. So taking forward from this, we will be talking more on the current situation. We are trying to get hold of few of the questions and answers. I think that would be really more, because we are learning from a lot of questions asked from different part of the world, different students who have been into James Academia, students who have been with Asian College of Teachers, and I think that it is quite a good learning. So the assessment and the methodology process is changing. It is continuously changing. It is changed along with the pandemic which has happened, and I think that James Academia has got its plan for placement as well as new manpower recruitment. We are sorry for this problem, the technical glitches that is happening. So it happens with man and machine as usual, and we will be shortly coming up. I have spoken to ma'am and she is trying to connect as soon as possible. We have got some good questions also coming up. I would really hold them on cue, like Rachita Pati Mishra, who has got a question that what would you suggest a new teacher in brief, and how would suggest and cop up. We have got Aditi ma'am now connected. We are happy to get you back. Yes, ma'am. So we can continue with the question what you were answering.
we are selecting our leaders in that way. And I think, if not the total, if we are not getting 100% of the leadership ideologies that we can, think of, we are at least getting 75% of it.
Right. We have got a question from that's wonderful. I think that was a wonderful question. I think we have got a question from Rachita Pati Mishra. Good afternoon, madam. What one thing would you suggest a new teacher or an inspiring teacher with a smiley, how to cope up with the current situation? Perspective from a new teacher's point of view. Your views, please.
See, you have to first strive, and only then you can thrive. Okay, so this is for all of us. As a teacher, you have to just remember that we are the ones who prepare children for the future. So I cannot bask in the glory of my past and say, oh, I have been teaching 15 years in a class and I have a child who's gone to NASA and I have a child who's a country topper, and bask in the glory. Today, when I enter the classroom and if children say, ma'am, you haven't switched on your video, ma'am, we cannot do this, ma'am, you cannot do that, and I cannot take an online class, par excellence, and I'm not learning it, then I'm failing. So teachers can't fail. We have to have the face that we know it all and we must know it all. So that is what you have to do. So if you do not strive, you cannot thrive. So please do your homework well.
We have, thank you for answering that. We have another quick question because we'll be running short of it. Quickly take some question. Kuhurina Basu, what were the roadblocks that you and faculty faced, madam, in the course of this transition? How did you overcome this? I think it is a very pertinent question. Your views, please.
Yes. See, I will tell you one incident where in the first week when we entered, we had a lot of meetings, online meetings, and then we realized that children were smarter than us. They were not switching on their videos. They were trying and talking. They were doing all the nonsense that was possible, which we were not being able to manage. See, in a classroom, an experienced teacher knows, okay, you are not listening, you are not talking, you are doing this and you are doing that. The same thing is also for online classes. Okay, while you are taking and you are putting your heart out, a poor old teacher, the child is blissfully chatting with another one in another phone. Yes. And the second hitch that was obviously, ma'am, my net is not working, so I'm not being able to talk. Why did you go out and come back? Oh, my net is not working. Shanak, the same logic I would tell everyone. If a teacher is interesting, the child will absolutely be glued. So when you're watching a Netflix, if you don't get internet, what will you do? You will go to every corner of your room, right? To get internet somewhere. Mera beech mein khatam ho gaya kuch. Why not that in your classroom? So we have to do that kind of a class where the child will say, miss kar liya yaar, I need to do that class. What happened? What did miss do today? Difficult, but not impossible.
Thank you. Wonderful views. Okay. I would like to ask you one thing, like considering all those situations, because you, as James Academia Nation College, we are related in terms of like we are working together. So what
yes, and I must thank you for the good teachers you've given me. I must thank you for the good teachers that you've given me.
And what is your feedback, ma'am? How are they doing? Like any views, any suggestions from your side?
Do they have a choice? Shanak, either in Asian College or in James Academia, do they have a choice of not doing well? They don't have. Well, so obviously they're doing wonderful.
Yeah, and I would like to ask, sure, like what are the plans? Because there will be dearth of teachers, we will be going on with things. So what do you think would be the plans in terms of placement? Like what are your plans in terms of recruitment?
See, a teacher, again, as I said, is the face of the world today. Only when you're falling sick are you going to the doctor. Only when you're breaking rules are you going to the police. But you can't but help come to me. You have to, So we have to learn, unlearn, relearn. That is the catch. So a teacher who is equipped to do that, a teacher who has had a training to do that, a teacher who has mastery of the subject that he is or she is teaching is definitely a teacher we would like to recruit. And of course, we have people like you who are making our work easier.
Yeah, taking that point on the concern, ACT Asian College, we have launched a program called VOLT, just to let people, and might be also for you, that is called Virtual Online Teaching. It is a diploma which can be learned in the online mode of learning. And so the teachers are ready. A very important part of this is change the program that addresses the current process and the education sector. And it also focuses most importantly on mobile learning. So we are trying from our point of view to take hold of everything. So what I would like to ask you on a very important note is that you have been, I would say, an anchor in the area of teaching. When the storm has raged, you have served as an anchor. What are your views for the future upcoming teacher who are taking things forward, listening to you, learning from you? What are your tips and for techniques or any kind of teaching which you would like to give to the future teachers who are coming up?
Shaunak, before I consider myself as an anchor, let me tell you that a principal or an anchor is only as good as his team. If the ship has a hole, no matter how smart the anchor is, there is always seepage and there is sinking. Second is the pandemic has slowed down our lives, but it has augmented change. If you see, every single day there is a change in every single aspect of life. So a teacher cannot resist change. So you have to be a person where a teacher is now, before there was this idea that, oh, this poor teacher, she has joined teaching because she wanted a vacation. Oh, poor teacher, her husband doesn't allow her to do something else, doesn't allow her to go at night somewhere, in the corporate world. And she had a lot of brains, but she's still, a teacher, poor teacher earning poor things. No longer will this be after the pandemic is over. We know and we are rightfully going to claim that the best in the industry should come for teaching.
Right. So from our part, we are going close to the end of this session. From Asian College of Teachers, our sincere gratitude, sincere thanks to you, Madam, for joining, spending time with us. I know there has been some technical glitches. Audience might have gone through that, but thank you for giving the inputs. I think few points which I would like to point upon what we have learned clearly. Point number one, as you have really pointed out, that the best in the industry is going to come up. It is not that teaching is just an option that my husband was not allowing or I was not getting the corporate kind of a pressure. So teaching, number one, is
when I was not very good in studies, I was not very good in studies, so I could have become a scientist, but okay, I'm now teaching. So that's not what.
So yeah, so the take number one is that the best in the industry is going to come up. Second is that we are not losing human touch. We are getting more close to human touch because everything is now getting close to the learning with all possible options that we can reach out to people. As you have rightly told, that people or the students are missing their grounds, their classroom and their dear teachers. Third point is that considering what the current pandemic situation which is prevailing, that all the subjects needs to be revamped and all the subjects can be learned on a better fashion considering the current situation and taking examples from here. So thank you very much for joining with us. We had Aditi Mukherjee from the principal of Ms Academia International talking to us. Asian College has been always trying to connect with the campus. Today, we cannot go to the campus. Campus is out there. As Madam has rightly pointed, that when the students are not coming to the campus, the school is going to the campus. So Asian College today has tried to reach out, directly going to the virtual campus, directly connecting to Ms Mukherjee, who is there as a principal, and she has really enlightened us. This pandemic has created options for a better learning. This is Shaunak Bhattacharya signing off from Asian College of Teachers, wishing you all a very happy stay safe, and bye-bye from now. Goodbye, Madam. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.